Okay, this is Kentucky Bushwhacker. We are entering Ridge Trail in Bear Island of Big Cypress National Park. I'm on a 2017 4Runner with 2-inch lift, Milestar empty tubes, 20 PSI. This vehicle's pretty much stock. The lift was added just to add better suspension to the additional weight that's been added. This is typical of what you're going to see here. This trail is pretty rugged by floor standards. Remember, you're in the swamp, or the highest part of the swamp here. So anything that you see where there's a depression, you can count on it in the wet season being wet. And that's the whole purpose of this video, is to show you what this looks like in the dry season, so you can anticipate coming through here in the wet season. So I've just switched it into 4 low. A lot of this you could get by as long as your clearance was good and just 2-wheel drive. But I switched it over to 4 low and then MTS for sand, mud. I could also ride and use what's it called, the A-track, I think would do well, because I've run some of these sandy Florida tracks like that with A-track on and had good success. You'll find that most of this, you can see here, is mostly sand, and then in these lower pit-like areas like this, that's where you'll see what I believe the reason it's muddy is because there's runoff from the topsoil that's accumulated there. don't forget, like what we just rolling over here, that just below the surface, you have sand right here on the surface. You can have hard rock right under that. And it's the Everglades. Don't under anticipate the amount of insects that you'll encounter out here. Be prepared for the insects. Everything from horseflies, dragonflies, all kinds of different beetles, and of course, the dreaded mosquito. This must definitely be underwater. Here's a good example of what you're going to find a lot on these trails when you do end up with a water hole like this. You can see that just below the sandy surface there can be that rock ledge like that. This one happens to be sort of ramp shaped, so it's easy to get into and out of. There are other rock outcroppings where it's a vertical face on it, so it can make it very difficult to get out of. That's why you want to drive these trails in the dry season. Or this is the whole purpose of these videos, so you can see what some of these places look like in the dry season, so you don't get yourself into trouble when you're trying to go out there in the wet. And then here's a side view of that same hole, where it's probably maybe about a foot and a half deep at the most. More spaces where, you know, it's kind of got these steep drop-offs from rock outcroppings there. In wet season, I mean, this is going to be a couple feet deep, roughly. I'm going to be prepared for that. I can't remember. I think it's this one. Some of these bypasses on the high ground like this are for good reason. Be careful where you go there. Pay attention, because you could drop off in a deep hole. If I remember, I'll show you one here. Yeah, probably one of the best. If you want to have wildlife encounters, your best time of the day, of course, is the morning and then in the evening there, 1 or 2 hours before sunset is when I've had my best luck. And take your time driving through here, just go slow. Enjoy the ride. Okay, so there's a high bypass there. The other thing that you want to do before you take a specific path, like get out and scout your trail, make sure you're going to break through the crust. And it's really super soft under it. This little section here is super dry right now. Yeah. Jeez, that had the shape of a railroad spike. Last thing I want to be doing is changing tires out here. So this has got a mud bottom on it, but I think it's sitting on top of sand there, it looks like. I was going to make a waypoint map of these little locations here using Onyx, but the other day I was trying to do waypoints, and as I was sitting there typing the information on the waypoint, I was watching the my GPS location move all over the place. It moved off of the trail, back onto the trail, up, back. I was like, wow, how am I ever going to get an accurate waypoint on here if my GPS location is doing that? So there's the high point up there of the high go around, but you could see this could be pretty deep right here. And if the trail gets torn up, you can high center really easy in there. But you can see here going across where there was a big divot, and then now they've moved it over here, but the trail's recovering there. So when I encounter something like that, I'm just going to follow this. Like, hopefully they don't contribute it and mess things up, make it worse. Okay. Let's see. Another thing to watch out for, I don't see any right now, but you can have these sandstone rocks sticking up out of the surface there, and it's actually, yeah, I don't know if I want to go through that. Let's go see. So that's got a muddy bottom on it. It's still really soft. I'm out here by myself, and the only trees to recover off of are off to the side there. Maybe there's one out there. I'm gonna go through this bypass. You can see somebody drove through there pretty recently and pushed that mud up. So, I think I'd rather skip getting stuck. Maybe I could have pulled off one of them palm trees, but I probably could have pulled off one of these. As I mentioned before, you can see it's mostly sand here. And even when wet, I mean, you're driving on sand at that space there. Looks like somebody maybe trying to create a bypass over here. Please don't do that. So here's another spot you're going to find wet. And you can see where there's mud built up here on both sides. Come into some loose sand here. Where it's not packed. Here's another one of the situations out there where you can't see it, but there's a rock with that flat face on it that I was talking about. And, as trail conditions change, that may become visible or not visible or get underwater. And so that's where you want to be careful, because you could really damage the underside of your vehicle there, or have a hard time getting over top of it, depending on, of course, trail conditions. Okay, this is what I'm talking about. Be careful where you go, because that right there, if you go into that, you can see it's a really soft bottom, first of all, and the edge of that is probably about 3 to 4 feet from where the top ledge, from where you see the surface of the water. And I can't tell you how deep it is. I'm not going in there to find out. There's the actual trail, which is clearly a bypass that's been created. But this is absolutely something that, unless you're driving a submarine or an amphibious vehicle, you probably don't want to get in there. All right, that's what I'm talking about. Damn, the fucking mosquitoes are coming in here. Alright. So we're getting... I'm gonna follow Ridge Trail all the way on up here. Bypass that and come back down through there. Oh, beautiful looking little squirrel there. Man, I hate when I speak wildlife like that. Also, if you're going along out here, that you're going to see roadways that are clearly not established trails for us to be driving on. However, when you pass those, slow down and take the time to look, because the wildlife out here, things like panthers and bears, use those as corridors, like all the other wildlife, to move around easily out here in this. Look around; it's very thick undergrowth vegetation. I don't want to have to get out of this. Try to hack my way through that. Okay, this is the junction for, off to the right there, it's, what's it called again? Harold's Strand, or Harold Strand. And then we're going to follow Ridge Trail the rest of the way here. Sometimes you end up with disappointments like this, where it's just this clean, compact stuff. You can see a lot of the the palms have been shredded on both sides of the road here. I believe that was them trying to get through here in anticipation of to help create a bigger fire break for a fire that had recently come through here. I see some evidence of that. I'm not sure on this road. I haven't been on this road after the fire. Don't forget, if you're planning on coming out here, look for the Big Cypress trail guide videos. I have a video for each road that's out here or trail. Oh, the smell of the forest. My goodness. A heron there. Oh no, that wasn't a heron, that was a hawk. Gosh, I thought I saw blue in there. I haven't noted it, this is heading north on Ridge Trail. That sign says safety zone. Beyond this sign, shooting, hunting, and loaded weapons prohibited. See something reflecting light up ahead here. Oh, there's another trail off to the right. Oh, it's metal glinting from the sign. So now we're at the junction of Hard Rock and Windmill. Windmill being off to the right there, and Hard Rock.